We sure are rolling. We are rolling for episode number 2 of the Chasing the Racing podcast here on this Monday, October 14th, 2019. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Chasing the Racing podcast for the second consecutive week. For those of you who do not know who I am, my name is Kyle Young, here to provide you with a ton of racing-related coverage, news, information, whatever, and anything that I can come up with here over the next however long we decide to talk. Holy cow, what a week we have had this past week in the racing world. An absolutely incredible amount of things have happened since we last spoke last Monday. We've had Super Dirt Week 48 come and go. A very good week of racing as a whole. Lots to talk about that. We had NASCAR weekend at Talladega. Tons of drama in both of those races. The second of which just wrapping up, 3-4 hours or so ago due to Mother Nature. Lots of different things going on with news-related stuff. Other major racing announcements and big events. Just a lot has happened over the last week, and we're going to dive right in, and we're going to talk about as much as we can. I hope that all of you guys had a phenomenal week. It has been a great week for me. We are beyond Super Dirt Week 48, which is where I spent my entire week. We will get into a lot of discussion about that. I was going to start the show off by talking about Super Dirt Week 48 coverage, but everything that went down at Talladega Super Speedway today has just fired me up. For those of you who know me, you know exactly why I'm fired up. But we're going to dive right into that first. We're going to talk all NASCAR-related news, and then we'll jump into Super Dirt Week. Just such a good weekend. All right, so let's kick it off, man. Talladega Super Speedway was the host of the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series and the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series this weekend. The first of 2 races to hit the track was the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series on Saturday afternoon. Lots of drama in this one that resulted in a first-time winner. If I were to tell you guys last week that we would be coming on this show tonight, telling you that Spencer Boyd is now a NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series winner, how many of you would have believed that? I didn't think so. So Spencer Boyd picks up the win in the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series event at Talladega Super Speedway, the Sugarlands Shine 250, after some late race controversy with Johnny Sauter. Johnny Sauter hits the start-finish line first, but he forces Spencer Boyd down below the yellow line in the tri-oval to defend his lead, takes the checkered flag. NASCAR says, disqualifies him from the win, and that gives Spencer Boyd his first career NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series victory. Todd Gilliland came home in second, Riley Herbst in third, Brett Moffitt fourth, and Stuart Friesen rounding out the top 5. Daytona winner Austin Hill, I only mention that because it's the Super Speedway, finishes in 6th, Tyler Ankrum 7th, Matt Crafton 8th, Sheldon Creed 9th, and Grant Enfinger rounds out your top 10. The disqualification, or I won't call it a disqualification. Maybe that's what NASCAR used it, or what other people used it. I don't care. It was a penalty. We'll call it a penalty. He was dropped back to 14th place. I'm going to make the assumption that that's the last car on the lead lap. I don't have intervals in front of me right now, but that's going to be my assumption. So he finishes at 14th. He was not too happy about that call. I guess on TV it kind of seemed like he kind of played it off cool. I was listening on the radio, and he got a little more vulgar, I guess, on the radio. So, yeah, as you can imagine, not too happy with it. Spencer Boyd, of course, was thrilled. And Spencer Boyd had to go put on a track meet performance because as soon as that was over, Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series qualifying took place. So, and he was the first one to qualify. He was the number one car to qualify for the Cup race, so he had to sprint all the way down to the end of pit road, go qualify his Cup car, and then came back to finish the celebration and whatever else that they decided to do. So congratulations to Spencer Boyd. Now, originally he was in that truck full time this year. I don't know all of the details, so forgive me on that. But something has happened. He's missed some races. But now I think he's running a part-time schedule with that truck for the rest of the season. Definitely helped his stock by winning this race on Saturday. So another instance where we have a super speedway produce a surprise winner. I don't know what the obsession is with so many people out there that put like a little asterisk next to super speedway wins or people that only win super speedways. If you ask me, they are just as hard to win as any other event, any other racetrack, any other race period on the schedule or in the world. It just takes a completely different type of skill. The skill that you need to win at Bristol Motor Speedway and Martinsville Speedway is not the type of skill that you need to win at Talladega Superspeedway, and vice versa. It's just a different style of racing. Yes, it does open it up more for people to kind of, I guess, for lack of a better term, even things out. But you can't just go in as a blind squirrel and win a race. It just doesn't happen. So Spencer Boyd takes care of it on Saturday. The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series race concluded today. We got, 56, 57 laps completed yesterday, and then Mother Nature came into play and ruined that from happening on Sunday. So they finished it up today, which, honestly, for me personally, I was totally cool with it. I spent my entire day out at the Oswego Speedway yesterday, so that allowed me to watch the majority of the race today, and what a freaking race! Oh my gosh. I was very happy with the race that we saw today. I think the spring Talladega race, was incredible. That was the first race where we saw this new Super Speedway package. They did not run it for the Daytona 500. They kept what they've been running. They transitioned into a new package for the spring Talladega race. I was in love with that race. Hated the fact that Chase Elliott won. Yes, there you go. Possibly the first or second. We'll go with the second because I'm pretty sure I told you all I'm a Billy Decker fan last week. The second biased thing, I don't like Chase Elliott. Learn it now, accept it for the future. Didn't want to see him win that race. But hey, phenomenal Talladega race, and I think we got another really, really nice finish and race today. Just awesome, in my opinion. There was a lot of side-by-side racing. You had 2 and 3 wide racing. You had some moments where you had your single file line. It happens. It didn't really last too long. Either cautions came out or you got 2 or 3 cars to go up to the outside or the inside, and then more people saw it and started following through and was making things happen. So I thought, all in all, it was a great race. 3 major crashes that happened and a wild finish to the end of that one. Quick correction as I'm glancing over here to my chat. I guess I said that Spencer Boyd was forced below the yellow line. Catching up on the chat here on the live stream, it was actually Riley Herbst that he forced below the yellow line. That's my apologies. So rewind what I said. Riley Herbst was forced below the yellow line by Johnny Sauter, not Spencer Boyd. My apologies. So 3 major crashes that happened in today's race. The first revolving around Alex Bowman and Joey Logano at the front of the field going down the backstretch. Coming to close out stage 2, Logano had a massive run coming down the backstretch going for the lead. I think this was like with 4 or 5 laps to go in the stage. Huge run, tried to take it somewhere. Bowman tried to throw the block. It did not work. Bowman gets turned into the infield, comes back up across the racetrack, and big one, number 1 happens. Multiple cars get caught up in it. Chase Elliott was in it. Jimmy Johnson was in it. Kyle Larson made a massive hit into it, crashing and piling up into turns 3 and maybe partially turn 4. That eliminated Bowman, Johnson, and Larson out of the race at the very minimum. There were more cars involved. I'm just going off of quick memory here. Chase Elliott was able to continue on, and he actually was still able to rebound to have a very nice finish despite all of that drama. So that was the first major wreck that happened. Then we had 2 towards the end of the race. The second one coming off of, well, both of these second ones kind of came off of bad bump drafts from Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch getting into the back of William Byron, spinning William Byron up into the field. He hits Joey Logano in the left rear. Logano got a little bit of hang time on the left side of that car. I didn't realize it at first watching it because we were on board with Joey Logano when the crash happened. So that all blows up into smithereens. Joey Logano caught up in it. Let's see. Daniel Suarez, Austin Terrio in the 51, I know, was crashed out. Who was driving the 66 car today, I know that he was involved in that crash as well. Joey Gase was involved. Eric Jones taken out in that one. So, big wreck number 2 on the day. Same place, back straightaway going into turn 3. This one was a little bit more, well, no, I guess I can't really say that. It was kind of in the same spot as the first one. So, big wreck number 2 on the day, same place, takes out more people, throws more of a more drama into the playoff race because Joey Logano has not had a very good start to this round. He had a rear axle that broke at the start of the Dover race, set him way behind, but he was able to recover well enough to have a tied deficit in the playoff grid. And now he comes into Talladega and he gets taken out, which Talladega is one of his better tracks. He's a good plate racer. He's a Daytona 500 winner. So expectations are high for Joey to do well, and he runs into trouble. Still was able to salvage a good finish. He is in the top 8 at the moment. They were able to get that car fixed. He was not eliminated from the race, but still found some issues and did not get the finish that he was looking for. Big crash number 3 was 100% the most spectacular one. And I don't know how many people out there have paid attention, but I will tell you the truth as to what happened in that crash. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. did not cause that crash. Initially, looking at all the replays, I thought it was pretty clear as day. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is on the bottom lane going down the backstretch. He moves up. He hits Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch turns up into the outside lane. We got cars crashing. Brendan Gaughan with a spectacular blowover. Whole barrel roll in the air. Comes back down and lands it. And chaos ensues. Watching replays. And then right before they cut to a commercial, they show you that angle where there's a guy up at the very top outside of the racetrack on turn 3 looking down the backstretch. Gives you the best angle. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. does not hit Kyle Busch. Go back and watch it again. Find that angle. And you will see, if you pay attention, they even spotlighted it on the NBC broadcast. Stenhouse does not hit Kyle Busch. It was a bad bump from behind, once again, from older brother Kurt Busch. While Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is making the move up, you see Kyle Busch's car take a quick slight turn to the left, and then it comes right back up into the field. It was another bad bump from Kurt Busch. I know that there are a lot of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. haters out there. I get it, but you can't deny the facts. And if you look at it, unless there's something wrong with your vision, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. did not touch Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch and Kurt Busch crash. Brendan Gaughan with a spectacular blowover. Piles up a bunch more cars in turns 3 and 4. And we're put into a red flag to clean up all the mess. Everybody was okay. That's obviously the first concern, is that once a car gets upside down and all that, you worry that if there's anybody hurt. Fortunately, it was a spectacular blowover for Brendan Gaughan, but it wasn't a very violent crash. Nowadays, I have been in full stance that you cannot kill the blowover unless you ruin the racing at Talladega Superspeedway and Daytona International Speedway. You cannot kill it unless you ruin it. All right. Now, I will say NASCAR has done a good job with the technology of these cars. You no longer see a car spin around backwards and just flip over in the air like we saw so many times in the 90s and the 2000s. Like no Elliott Sadlers, no Ryan Newmans, no Rusty Wallaces, nothing like that. But now, if you have a car spun out sideways and somebody hits that car while they are spinning, the impact of that the intensity of the impact will lift that right side off. Usually, that's how it usually happens, is it's usually, car spins down the track, hits the left, right side comes up and flips over. It's happened the other way, but that's usually what happens. Car gets hit, right side comes off the ground, that little space underneath the car presents air, lifts up on the car, flips it over. You're not going to stop that from happening. You're just not. This new package, Denny Hamlin hit over almost 205 miles an hour in the first practice on Friday. If you want to stop the blowovers, you have to kill the racing. You have to top them out at 150 miles an hour. And that's going to dramatically slow down how long, or increase the time that it takes to run the race. Nobody wants to add that, so yada, yada, yada. You're not going to kill the blowover. All right? I don't have to be a scientist or an engineer or an aerodynamicist or a physicist, whatever. You're not going to kill the blowover. Plain and simple. Prove me wrong. And we saw that happen once again. 2 Talladega races, 2 blowovers. Kyle Larson did it in the spring. Brendan Gaughan does it here in the fall. Everybody's okay. Sets up a green-white checkered finish. Now, I was paying attention. My boy YRB, I'm a Ryan Blaney fan, misses all these big wrecks. Comes out of that one in the freaking lead. He's leading the race on a green-white checkered. So he's got like a bunch of smaller teams right around him, behind him. Eric Almirola is there. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is still in the mix. Ryan Newman's up there. So Denny Hamlin was up there. We take the green flag. First lap goes good. We make it to the last lap. I'm feeling all confident. It's a single file line. Nobody is looking to do absolutely anything, make any type of move. We're going down the backstretch, and all of a sudden, here comes Ryan Newman. Makes the move out. He gets some help from Denny Hamlin. And they just absolutely blow by Ryan Blaney without him really making an attempt. I'm like, oh crap, there it goes. There it is. Blaney lost. I'm like, I'm so excited. I'm up on the edge of my seat. I'm like, that's it. Blaney lost. I thought he was going to win this race. My brother is a Ryan Newman fan. He's out in the lead. I'm like, my guy just lost the race, but my brother's guy's going to win. And like, I'm trying not to get mad because like I really thought Ryan was going to have a really good shot to win that race. But as I start going to the trial, I'm like, all right, well, that's pretty cool. Newman's going to win the race. I'm going to be able to text my brother. He's going to get all excited. Sucks that he's not watching right now. But then Ryan Blaney comes back and freaking wins the race. Oh my God. I don't even know where the run came from. I have no idea where that run came from. He was able to get the draft the right way. There was a tiny little space between Newman and the apron. Blaney tries to get down to fit that. There's a little bit of contact. More drama with the yellow line because Blaney dips down below the yellow line. They're beating and banging to the line. 7 thousandths of a second. Ryan freaking Blaney wins the Cup race today at Talladega Superspeedway. I went off again. It's been over a year since Ryan won. I was so freaking happy. Ridiculously happy. Just awesome. Awesome to see him win again. And what also helps was the fact that I went to the casino the other day and I dropped a $10 bill on my boy YRB. 15-1 odds. I got $150 out of it plus my $10 bet back. I'm all stoked. Just a great day. A great day for Ryan. I'm so happy for him. Locks himself into the round of 8. He cleared tech, by the way. So that's all good. Ryan Blaney is in. Very happy about that. So he gets the win. Ryan Newman finishes in second. Denny Hamlin in third. Eric Almirola fourth. Michael McDowell with a top 5 finish. Austin Dillon sixth. Corey LaJoie seventh. Corey LaJoie mentioned on his Twitter, I was looking afterwards, he had an average super speedway finish this year of 10th place. 10th place super speedway average finish for the 4. That's pretty damn good. As I mentioned, Chase Elliott was able to rebound for a solid finish. He finished in 8th with a beat-up race car. After his crash, you could tell that the suspension was shot. He was crabbing way too much yaw in that race car, but still found a way to make it work. Comes home in 8th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 9th, and Ty Dillon rounds out your top 10. Looking at the playoff standings, I forgot to do that for the trucks. We'll rewind and do that really quickly. They are updated here on the NASCAR app. So we've got Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney obviously locked in with their 2 wins. Denny Hamlin is 3rd in points, a 56 point, point buffer above the cut. Pretty much he's locked in. Maximum points that you can score is 60. Least you can get is 1, but a lot of things have to happen. I'm pretty sure Denny Hamlin is locked in to the next round. Martin Truex Jr. is 4th in the points, 48 points up, looking really good, as well as his teammate Kyle Busch in 5th, 41 points above the cut. Kevin Harvick in 6th, 36 points above. Brad Keselowski's in 7th, 20 points above. And Joey Logano, after coming into Talladega, -0. He was tied with William Byron, but he was below the cut due to tiebreaker. Leaves Talladega with an 11th place finish and has an 18-point buffer on the cut. Below the cut line, we have Alex Bowman at an 18-point deficit in 9th. Chase Elliott is 10th, 22 points back. Clint Bowyer 11th, 24 points back. And William Byron 27 points back in 12th. Going to be pretty difficult. Those are some pretty high point numbers to be behind. It's not must win for everybody. It's absolutely not must win territory. I know that the NBC and NASCAR, everybody wants to shove must win down your throat. Must win, must win, must win, must win. They really don't. You can score 27 points and get yourself in. It's just going to be difficult. So we'll see how that all plays out heading into the round of 12 finale next week at Kansas. Going back over to the trucks, since I missed that when we were talking about the trucks. Brett Moffitt, current point leader, seeing that Spencer Boyd is not a playoff driver. Nobody locked in the round of 6. So Brett Moffitt's the pointless leader. He has a 45-point lead on the cut. Stuart Friesen is second with a 22-point gap. Austin Hill is third with a 12-point gap. And Matt Crafton is fourth, just 1 point ahead of Tyler Ankrum, who is in fifth, and Ross Chastain is sixth. Only 2 points out, which is pretty impressive because Ross was involved in a major crash in that race as well. Trying to block out in the leader. Live by the block, die by the block, kind of like Alex Bowman gets turned around, and his day is done. So even though he struck catastrophe, he still has a shot to advance. Nobody is eliminated there in the round of 6 for the trucks. Their next race will be in 2 weeks, if I'm thinking correctly. That is correct, October 26th at the Martinsville Speedway. Going to be a good one. Martinsville is always awesome. And that should not be any less. There are 3 more races in the Truck Series this year. Isn't that crazy? There's 3 more races left. That's insane! 3 races left in the Truck Series for 2019, and that's what we're looking at right now. So I'm pretty sure that's everything that I can think of to talk about with Talladega today and yesterday. Or, today, yesterday, and Thursday. Saturday. Just great. Talladega almost never disappoints, and I was very, very thrilled that I got to watch it. Very much enjoyed today's program, and I'm looking forward to seeing how things shape up in Kansas. While we are on the NASCAR banner, we will mention some more NASCAR racing news that happened over the weekend. The NASCAR Can-Am Pro Series West is still competing. They had an event out at the All-American Raceway in Roseville, California. Let's see here. I had the actual results. Oh wait, did I screenshot those? Hang on a second. I did screenshot those. All right, so let me pull them up here. First time winner in the NASCAR Can-Am Pro Series West this year, or this weekend at All-American Speedway? I thought it said Raceway. Now that annoys me. I must find out. Pulling up the article. That's the wrong thing. Where did the article go? Oh, right there. I got a lot of tabs up right now. I got a lot of things to talk about. Okay, All-American Speedway. All right, the article says All-American Speedway too, so my bad. I have a massive pet peeve when I do stuff like that, so I just wanted to be correct. Jagger Jones picks up the win. Hailie Deegan finished in second. Trevor Huddleston was third. Derek Kraus fourth, and Todd Souza rounded out the top five. Brittany Zamora was sixth. Buddy Shepard in seventh. Travis Milburn eighth. Derek Doring ninth, and running out the top 10 was Keith McGee. Seeing that it was a 16-car field, we might as well just give you the whole finishing order. Bridget Burgess was 11th, Dylan Garner 12th, Takuma Koga in 13th, John Wood 14th, Josh Finopoulos 15th, and Jack Wood was in 16th place. And last place for the K&N West Series race. Jagger Jones, yes, that's right. The grandson of Parnelli Jones. Everybody knows who Parnelli Jones is, so that's pretty cool for him to find his success. Oh, hey, if I would have scrolled down a little bit, there would have been the results right there. K&N West standings. Let me just... Oh, nope. After that one, hang on one second. Let me go back here and just... I want to see what we got. Top championship, top 5, broadcast, blah, 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 blah. All right. Okay, so they are still racing. K&N West is still racing. All right, I have a lot of things to cover. I got a lot of tabs, so I wasn't able to keep up on everything like I wanted to, so I apologize if I'm stuttering or bouncing between things a lot. Lots to cover today. So K&N West points standings heading into that race on October 26th at Kern County. Is that what that article just said? Kern County Raceway Park in Bakersfield, California, Saturday, October 26th. The point standings have Derek Kraus up on top. He has a 40-point lead over Trevor Huddleston in second. Jagger Jones with a win is third, 41 points out of the lead. Hailie Deegan fourth, 44 points out, and Todd Souza is fifth. Or tied for fifth with Brittany Zamora, 90 points out. Seventh is Travis Milburn, 124 back. Eighth is Takuma Koga, 144 back. John Wood is ninth, 240 back. And Matt Levin. We'll go with Matt Levin. 255 points back in position number 10. Some other NASCAR-related news. That was all for NASCAR-related racing going on today. Some driver and sponsorship announcements came out this week. We've got Smithfield has re-signed with Stewart-Haas Racing to extend their partnership on board the number 10 Ford Mustang for Stewart-Haas Racing. That sponsorship extension also is a contract extension for Eric Almirola. Eric Almirola also getting a 1-year contract extension in the Cup Series with Stewart-Haas Racing. Just kind of scrolling through, skim reading some of the article here just to try to give a little bit more information than what I'm providing. So yeah, that's obviously very good. Sponsorship is what keeps the what keeps things going in this sport. It's extremely crucial, and it's very good to hear that Smithfield is going to be back and that Eric Almirola is going to stay in the 10. He obviously has not had as successful of a season this year as he did last year. He's already eliminated from the playoffs. He has not won. He won this race last year, so he's now at a 1-year losing streak. But it's great to see that. Great to see that he has extended that relationship and will continue to drive in that car at least for next year. I have absolutely no articles on it. I didn't find anything to look up for any references at all. But good news coming out of the Ross Chastain world. He will be racing full-time for Colleague Racing next year in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Colleague is going to put a second car out on the racetrack full-time in 2020, and Ross Chastain will make the move up there for next year. That is great news. I had a very awesome experience with Ross Chastain, 2 years ago at the season opener in Daytona. Me and two friends chipped in for a $2,000 sponsorship to sponsor JD Motorsports. We got a great little, basically a VIP treatment. It was awesome. Behind the scenes, in trailers, in the pit box for the race. It was so cool. Got to learn a lot about that whole organization and those drivers, and it's awesome to see Ross had the success that he's had over these last couple of years. He was supposed to be racing full-time for Chip Ganassi Racing this year in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, but LOL DC Solar. So that didn't happen. He's been having a phenomenal year in the trucks. Still has, as we mentioned just a few minutes ago, still has a very realistic shot at making the Championship 4, despite having been involved in a big crash on Saturday in the truck race. So to hear that he is going to be moving up to the Xfinity Series in a good quality ride next year is great. Justin Haley is racing for that team now. He's had a pretty successful year. I mean, it is his rookie year. He's already eliminated from the playoffs, but hey, he made the playoffs. He's been having some good finishes. So to know that Ross is going to go there, I think he's going to be in good hands, and it should be a good fit for him. Also floating around the rumor mill this weekend in the NASCAR world, something that I saw on Facebook, involves Dale Earnhardt Jr. We all know that Jr. is retired from the Cup Series, but he has been racing one Xfinity race the last 2 years since his retirement. That could change for 2020. Now, again, this is just all rumors, just something that I saw, nothing to confirm, nothing to mention seriously about this. But the rumor has it is that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to run 2 races in the NASCAR Xfinity Series next year. The first coming at Homestead Miami Speedway, which, remember, that is changing from the season finale as it has been. That will move up to the spring. I think it's like the last weekend in March. So he's rumored to be competing in that, and he's also going to compete in the series return to Martinsville Speedway in the fall. So that's pretty cool. I was extremely happy to hear that the Xfinity Series was going to come back to Martinsville. I love Martinsville with a burning passion. I never understood why it wasn't always a triple header weekend. Now that there are lights, you can make that a triple header weekend. But nonetheless, well, actually, I think it is a triple header weekend next year in the fall. So we'll have to see what comes out about that for confirmation or not. Again, it is just all rumors at the moment. There is nothing confirmed, but definitely worth mentioning since Dale Jr. is kind of this popular guy. So that'll be fun to follow. Not necessarily sticking strictly with NASCAR, but it does still have some relation to NASCAR. The Arca Racing Series schedule, the Arca Menard Series for 2020 has been released. This was released on the 10th, which was Thursday, this article is. 20 races in 2020 for the Arca Menard Series. As has been mentioned, there's a merger combination thing going on with Arca this upcoming year, or next year, with the NASCAR K&N Pro Series, both East and West. You will have your regular Arca Menard Series, you'll have an Arca Series East and Arca Series West, and then the Arca Showdown schedule. So basically, you'll have your separate events, I think, for Arca, K&N West, or Arca West and Arca East. But some of those races that fall into those schedule will be considered Showdown races. So in all reality, you'll have like 3 different series racing. But some of those races will count for other things, if I'm getting that correctly. I think I am. But yeah, so 20 race schedule for the Arca Menard Series in 2020. Things will kick off at Daytona International Speedway Saturday, February 8th. And they will make races. We'll run through this real quick. I'm not going to get into major details with everything, but they will go from Daytona to ISM Raceway, Salem Speedway, Talladega Superspeedway, Charlotte Motor Speedway, Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, which is really cool, Michigan International Speedway, Chicagoland Speedway, Pocono Raceway, Lucas Oil Raceway, Elko Speedway, Iowa Speedway, Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway, Madison International Speedway, Watkins Glen International, the Springfield Mile, the Illinois State Fairgrounds, Magic Mile at DuQuoin State Fairgrounds, Bristol Motor Speedway, Memphis International Raceway, and Kansas Speedway to wrap up the year. The races that are going to count for the Showdown are ISM, Salem, Mid-Ohio, Lucas Oil, Elko, Iowa, Gateway, Watkins Glen, Bristol, and Memphis. So cool news out of that. That should be fun to follow next year. Hopefully the car counts improve with the Arca Menard Series and the Arca Menard Series East and West. And we will continue to see those series survive throughout the future. So that's everything NASCAR related that we have for today's show. Now that we have cleared that, there are some other pavement racing news that I do want to get into. But at this point in the show, I would very much like to talk about the adventures that were, or was, I guess should say, Super Dirt Week. Super Dirt Week 48. That is what has happened over this past week here in Central New York. That is where I spent all of my race chasing this past week. Overall, a phenomenal event. We had great weather for just about the entirety of the week. The weather did impact Saturday's shows and canceled the Super Dirt Week wildcard event at Fulton Speedway. But all in all, it was a solid week. Everything kicked off on Tuesday at the Utica Rome Speedway in Vernon, New York. The first three shows were doubleheader events for the Dirt Car 358 Modified Series and the Dirt Car Sportsman Series. Utica Rome kicked it off. It was a very unique night for Utica Rome Speedway. Usually that track slicks off top to bottom, and you struggle to find a lot of moisture. But that was not the case this past Tuesday night, with it being fall, temperatures being a little cooler than normal. The track held moisture for a lot of the race. It took quite a long time for it to slick off. It didn't really slick off much at all for the Sportsman feature, which actually went first on that night. And this article does not have Sportsman results. So we'll pull up the right article with Sportsman results. That race was won by Dirt Car Sportsman Series point leader Kevin Root. Kevin Root had a phenomenal week, by the way. You'll find out why here soon. Picked up his first win of the week at the Utica Rome Speedway. Picked up a $1,000 check. Results from that one. Alan Fink finished in second. Kyle Inman was third. Jackson Gill fourth. And Charlie Tibbetts rounded out the top five. Zach Sabatka was sixth. Adam Pearson seventh. Chris Mackey eighth. Tim Falter ninth. And Shane Pecor rounded out the top 10. Some fun news about Shane Pecor coming up in this Super Dirt Week review. So that was your top 10 from the Dirt Car Sportsman Series race at Utica Rome. Big drama in that event, as there was a big crash just shy of halfway through that event that saw two cars go upside down. Those were the cars driven by AJ Philbeck and standout in the Sportsman division, Matt Janzik. Both cars pretty heavily damaged. Janzik's car was a total loss from what they were saying. And he needed to find a new ride for the remainder of the week. So he was able to step in to the Tom Juno-owned number 25 Sportsman ride and found some success with that one throughout the week, which we will get to here momentarily. Everybody was all right. It was a very surprising thing to see. But set up some drama for the remaining of the week. So Kevin Root coming home with the Dirt Car Sportsman Series race on Tuesday. And then in the Dirt Car 358 Modified Series, kicking off his week, was Matt Williamson. Matt Williamson redrew the pole for the 100-lap feature. 30 cars took the green, and he never looked back. Actually, now that I think about it, did he redraw the pole? I could be completely wrong on that. All that it says in here is I was lucky at redraw. So he started up, well, if he didn't get the pole. Dominated the event. Absolutely dominated the event. As I said, the track held moisture really, really well, so he was ripping the top for the entirety of the race, and nobody could catch him. So he very easily came home with the $4,000 win to kick off Super Dirt Week Tuesday night at the Utica Rome Speedway. Eric Rudolph was your second-place finisher. Mike Mahaney third. Ryan Arbuthnot fourth. And Alan Terrian rounded out the top five. Dave Marchicelli was sixth. Rocky Warner seventh. Chad Brockman eighth. Rusty Smith ninth. And Jan Bussier came home in 10th place. The first night of Super Dirt Week 48. Night number 2 of Super Dirt Week 48 brought us to the Weedsport Speedway in Weedsport, New York on Wednesday night. Wednesday night was a very interesting rebound night for a certain driver. He blew his motor during the feature event on Tuesday night at the Utica Rome Speedway and was able to completely turn it around with a victory the next night at Weedsport. And that driver that I'm talking about is Lightning Larry White. Last year's Dirt Car 358 Modified Series champion took the victory night number 2 for Super Dirt Week. Mike Maresca, the 2019 Outlaw 200 winner, came home in second position. Matt Williamson was third. Jimmy Phelps fourth, and Dave Marchicelli rounded out your top five with Tim Sears Jr. sixth, Ronnie Davis the third and seventh, Chad Brockman eighth, Eric Rudolph ninth, and Mike Mahaney rounded out the top 10. Fairly good race overall. Larry was pretty dominant in this one. Had a good starting spot again, just like Matt did. Took it to the front and never looked back. Once he got the lead, he was gone and away and cruised to a very simple feature win. And really, when I look at the sportsman results too, it was a double recovery night because Matt Janzik took home the sportsman feature win after flipping his car. He jumped into Tom Juno's car the night afterwards and went to victory lane in that one. So Matt Janzik came home with a victory at Weedsport. Jackson Gill was second. Adam Pearson third. Kevin Root was fourth after winning at Utica Rome the night prior. Chris Mackey rounded out the top five. Alan Fink was sixth. Shane Pecor seventh. Alan Fink sixth. Shane Pecor seventh. Brett Senek was eighth. Andrew Smith ninth, and Kyle Inman rounded out the top 10 for night number 2 of Super Dirt Week. Night number 3 of Super Dirt Week, the Hurricane 100, always a fan favorite during Super Dirt Week, and it did not lie from the fan participation. My dad got there towards the start of the show and had to park at a restaurant down the street in order to get to the track. So, packed house at the D-shaped dirt demon known as the Brewerton Speedway for the 27th annual Hurricane 100. And it was a pretty solid show, I have to say. They started out again with modifieds first and then sportsmen second. Same show as I said from the 2 days prior. Dirt Car 358 Modified Series race and then a Dirt Car Sportsman Series race. This one again, second win on the week, went to Matt Williamson. Put on another great show. He won the Super Dirt Car Series race there last month, and he doubled it up with the 358 Series win for the Hurricane 100. His first ever Hurricane 100 victory. Eric Rudolph came home second. Michael Maresca third. Billy Decker came home in fourth. Mike Mahaney rounding out the top 5 with Larry White sixth. Dave Marchicelli seventh. Glenn Forward eighth. Ronnie Davis the third, ninth, and Tyler Trump rounding out the top 10 for the Hurricane 100. Dirt Car Sportsman Series race ran for 30 laps. Kyle Inman picked up the win in that one. Kevin Root was in second, Adam Pearson third, Alan Fink fourth, and Mark Yorker finished in fifth. Zach Sabaka sixth, Brad Rouse seventh, Matt Janzik was eighth, Jeff Taylor ninth, and Jackson Gill rounded out the top 10. We'll throw in the little bias part of this one. Both my brother and my landlord competed on Thursday night. Unfortunately, things did not go well for my brother. He did not make the show. Was pretty tight in his heat race. He timed 5th out of 10 cars in his group. Finished 7th or 8th in his heat race, which did not transfer him in, so he went to the Consi and unfortunately missed the show by 1 spot. My brother has had success in the Dirt Car Sportsman Series at Brewerton. He has only made 2 starts in that series, and those 2 starts came at Brewerton. It was in this event last year, and then the Duel at the Demon event last month, but was not able to qualify for this one, so he came up and watched with us in the stands. However, my landlord did make it into the show. He didn't have a stellar finish. Unfortunately, he DNF'd. He was caught up in a crash towards the later stages of the race. Wasn't anything serious. He got it straight up with a bumper, destroyed the front bumper of the car. But when he hit, he also got hit in the rear, and it moved the motor a little bit, and I think they said it broke the line to the distributor. So shut the power down off of the car, and he was unable to finish. So that was a bit of a bummer, but all in all, it was a very good event to close out the year at Brewerton Speedway. It's always a heartbreaker to say goodbye to the home track for the year, which we did on Thursday night. But it was yet again another good show, great turnout in the stands. So I was very happy to see all of that. Friday night rolls around, and we are presented with our first racing action at the Oswego Speedway. I'm just trying to see if I can pull up the Friday night portion of the show here. Let's see here. Last Chance Showdowns. Yes. We've got it all. All right. So Friday night lights of the show. Timeout. Quick update to drop it back a little bit to Thursday. Just want to throw in there real quick. They had time trials for the big races at Oswego. And your boy's driver, Billy Decker, landed on the pole for Sunday's Billy Whitaker Cars 200. That made me really happy. Just throwing it out there. Billy Decker had a good week. You'll find out why. So Friday night, we had all of our heat races. First time this year at Super Dirt Week, the Pro Stocks had heat races. Usually, the Pro Stocks would just have a qualifier. I think they would take like the top 24, 25 cars or something like that, and then they would run a last chance showdown, and everybody else would get back in after that. Or everybody get in through that, and there you go. That did not happen this year. They actually had a time trial session, heat races, last chance showdown. They were treated like everybody else at Super Dirt Week. Those 2 heat races went to Pro Stock standout Rob Yetman and Chris Crane. They only ran 2 12-lap heats after the time trial sessions. All time trial sessions locked in the top 6 cars, and then they went to heat races, and then you had your last chance showdowns on Saturday. So Rob Yetman and Chris Crane got the heat race wins on Friday for the Dirt Car Pro Stock Series. This is going to be annoying to deal with here really quickly. Your Dirt Car 358 Modified heat events, they ran triple 25s. Heat number 1 went to Jimmy Phelps. Matt Williamson won the second one, and Tim Fuller picked up heat win number 3 in those 25-lap qualifiers. I'm just kind of skimming through these because really the qualifying events aren't all that super duper. Well, I mean they are, but they aren't like ridiculously important or like super dramatic until I tell you about the dramatic stuff. The big block heat races looked fairly similar to the small block ones, as Jimmy Phelps won his heat race. Matt Williamson won the third one, but But the only difference was that Matt Shepard picked up the win in heat number 2. So you had Jimmy Phelps and Matt Williamson doubling up their small block heat races in the big blocks, and then Matt Shepard took the other one. They ran triple 30s. Sportsman heat races. This is where the drama comes in a little bit. They ran quadruple 15s. They had over 100 cars show up to make this event at Super Dirt Week this year. Without a doubt, the most number of cars that have shown up for Super Dirt Week in the 4-year history since it's moved to Oswego Speedway. And it was awesome. There were race cars parked just about everywhere on the facility. And the Sportsmen had the biggest numbers. They had, I think in total, they ended up, I think they timed 101 cars and 2 cars got disqualified. So I think the final number was 103. I may be wrong about that. But they did have over 100 cars. Heat race number 1 was won by Kyle Inman. Heat race number 2 was won by Robert Delormier. Number 3 was originally won by Shane Pecor. He was disqualified, and the win went to Chris Mackey. And then heat race number 4 was won by Andrew Buff. As you can imagine, with over 100 cars, big heat races, small numbers that qualify in, it was very challenging for drivers in any division to make it into one of these shows with all the numbers. They had over 100 sportsmen, I think about just around 80 big blocks and small blocks apiece, and then 40 pro stock. So great numbers. The drama with Shane Pecor, heat race number 3. He was disqualified, I believe, just off of, well, here, why don't I be for sure? There is an article I can pull up. I just want to be for sure and give the proper information. Shane Pecor disqualified for an illegal air filter base. Let's see here. It violated section 19.1.1 letter F for carburetor/air cleaner in the Dirt Car Sportsman Rulebook. Basically, Shane's defense on it was that it was something that he's been using for 2 years. It's seen, or his exact quote, I'll read it. Quote, "I'm frustrated on how Dirt Car can allow the part for 2 years, has been seen many times and never had any issues." Unquote. Quote, "If it was something they were concerned with, they should have had me change it in pre-tech." Unquote. There had been some mentions of it in by one of the tech inspectors. Well, I'll quickly run through and read his response on it. He said, quote, "Unfortunately, when somebody says they have used a part in the past, there could be all kinds of things attached to that. These comments are coming directly from, I just want to get a first name here really quickly. Trying to skim through here. I have Mark Hitchcock, Dirt Car Northeast Technical Director Mark Hitchcock. This is coming directly from an article posted on Dirt Track Digest. Quote, "Unfortunately, when somebody says they have used a part in the past, there could be all kinds of things attached to that. Maybe nobody has checked for that specific part. Unfortunately for Pecor in this particular case, that was part of our technical inspection that our guys did on everybody's air filter along with checking the carburetor after qualifying. It's just something that showed up. Our rule is pretty clear that the air filter base has to have a 5-inch hole in the bottom of it. Shane had something that was a little bit different than that. We feel that it was an increased performance deal, not necessarily something that helped him get out front or anything like that. Our rule is pretty clear, and we did that to not have guys spending lots of money on air filter bases and air filters in general, trying to keep it at a level playing field. Unfortunately, it's one of those things. I don't know if Pecor didn't understand the rule or thought it was okay. He didn't try to hide it or anything from us, so I'm sure he believed it was okay, but it was pretty clear in our rule book." Unquote. To me, it's one of these things that just kind of makes the Sportsman series as a whole just look like a black eye. It seems like there's a lot of rules that are in place with sportsmen that don't actually get enforced, and sometimes they decide to enforce them, and we have these issues like this. The other flip side of that is that this doesn't really surprise me because this is not the first time that Shane Pecor has been caught for cheating. It was 2 or 3 years ago. He was suspended, I believe, for a month for using tire softener on his tires. So the fact that Shane Pecor's name is back in the news for failing technical inspection of some sort, not overly surprising. There was a bit of a gap in between these these two incidents, but here we are again, and he has been disqualified. So he was not very happy about it, and he decided to take his ball and go home instead of taking the disqualification and joining in the back of a last chance showdown. They loaded up and they headed back to Canada. I don't know if a disqualification in a heat race prevents you from being able to use your provisional, because he is a series regular, so he has a provisional starting spot. If not, he would have been guaranteed to run in the race, but I guess with him being as upset as he is, he decided to leave. So he left Oswego, went back home to Canada, and did not compete in the sportsman events Saturday and Sunday. Again, not really all that surprising to see his name in the news headlines for the infraction. Not the first time. Maybe it will be the last time. Who knows? But 2 incidents, kind of starting to see a little consistency in that. Told you guys I was going to tell you what I thought. I ain't playing that political bullcrap stuff. So that's where we're going with that. So it didn't really hurt my feelings too much. But he, whether it was Dirt Car's fault, his fault, you could kind of play it up either way. Like I said, a lot of these things that I mentioned, like with Mark Hitchcock's comments, is that there does seem to be a lot of rules in the book that are not enforced or not consistently enforced, and people do things to their cars that are against the rules, but they get away with them. And I don't know. There's a lot of things that just doesn't make the sportsman division look good in my eyes, and it can kind of be seen. This can kind of be seen as one of those. Or you can partially see it the way I do and just another cheater getting caught cheating. So that's really all the events and information for Friday night's racing. Saturday night's racing, as I mentioned at the beginning of the discussion from Super Dirt Week, we had a little bit of rain in the area. It delayed the show. We didn't end up getting at the track and racing until, I think, between 4 and 5 o'clock on Saturday night. The show was supposed to start well early in the morning, and then the big 150 for the 350 modifieds was supposed to start at 2 p.m. But everything was pushed back because of the weather. It did not allow for Fulton Speedway's event to go off. They had to cancel it, so there was no event at Fulton. Fulton had a new special format for the modifieds that used to be, or has been, the win and you're in race. Super Dirt Week, after everything happens at Oswego, they've always had a win and you're in race. Saturday night, it's kind of bounced back and forth between different venues. It has now been at Fulton Speedway for the last few years, but they changed the format up a little bit this year to make it more appealing to the guys that are already locked into the big 200 at Oswego. Would have been cool to see how it would have played out, but it didn't happen. If a locked-in car had qualified, they would have given the spot to somebody that is not locked in, or the highest non-locked-in driver. But we didn't get to see how that all happened, and they had a 360 open sprint car event instead of the World of Outlaws coming in, which really made me happy because it dropped admission prices $10. That show used to be $40 to get in. You used to get a really small field of modifieds because everybody that was locked into the big show at Oswego never came to Fulton because they had nothing to race for, no need to race for it. It's a win and you're in race, you're already in, so why show up? And honestly, the World of Outlaws don't really get a good draw up here in New York, so you were probably spending more money than there were cars in the pits. If not, maybe a few more cars in the pits than what you spent. So I'm glad that they decided to make this change for this year. I was going to go down to Afton Motorsports Park for the Short Track Super Series event that was going to go on after last year's race. because small number of cars, the show flies by. I didn't think it was worth $40, but I was going to give it another shot this year. Unfortunately, it didn't matter because we lost the show. So Saturday at Oswego, we had last chance showdowns for all 4 divisions, and we had the Dirt Car 358 Modified Series Salute to the Troops 150. We will go in order of the events that were raced that day. So everything started out with the 358 Modified Series Last Chance Showdowns. Oh, cool. They even give... All right, so they even give us the drivers that qualified in. So Last Chance Showdown number 1, they qualified at the top 5 cars. So the guys making it in from that one were Steve Bernier, Lance Willix, Alex Terrian, Kyle Dingwall, and Mike Bowman. That was your top 5 finish. From that one, Last Chance Showdown number 2, Jordan McCready won it. Tyler Meeks was second, Mike Mahaney third, Tyler Trump fourth, and Jan Boussier rounded out the top 5. That set the field for the Salute to the Troops 150, and that is what hit the racetrack next. Our first main event during Super Dirt Week 48. It was a very, very good race. It was the race of the week for all of Super Dirt Week. Satellite shows, everything included. This race kicked major ass. As I have seen in my past with Super Dirt Week, that track needs moisture. And we got moisture in the form of rain on Saturday during the day. And it set up for a great race Saturday evening and Saturday night. Cars all over the racetrack. I think the single highlight of the event was still early on in the race. I don't even think they were a third of the way into the race yet. You had a ridiculous battle for the lead with Eric Rudolph, Matt Williamson, and Larry White. They were 3 wide at one point while going through lapped traffic. Freaking sane. Me and everybody that I was with, we were going freaking nuts. It was awesome. So awesome to see the racing that we got on Saturday night during that event. 150 lap race, as you probably could have guessed from the 150 at the end of the race name. Little different format for this race than what they usually run for all the other races. They had a competition caution on lap 150. Everybody could come in to get whatever service they wanted without losing their spot. I think they kind of do that just to kind of eliminate pit strategy, because having to worry about it or not. Whether you agree with it or not, I don't really know. I mean, it was a great race. It's obviously a much different race when you're able to throw some strategy in there. But we were treated to a fantastic show, and the race had a fantastic winner. Can you take a guess as to who won? I'm pretty happy about it. I'll give you like 5 seconds. Guess who won? You have an idea yet? Billy freaking Decker won! Billy Decker from 14th place got the win in the Salute to the Troops 150. His first Super Dirt Week main event win since 2011. Started in 14th. I went nuts. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was the 7th win for him in the Salute to the Troops 150. Took the lead from Eric Rudolph on a late race restart, which I really didn't think he was going to be able to do. He worked his way up to 3rd place. I think he was, up to 3rd by the halfway, or the 100 lap break. And I really didn't think that he was going to have the car to get around Eric Rudolph and Larry White. He had a long battle with his teammate Larry White, and watching him fight that battle with him, I'm just like, I just don't think he's got the car in clean air to be able to beat Eric. I think he was kind of relying on that the lap traffic to kind of bunch everybody up and get him the opportunity to challenge those guys. But I was completely wrong. They had a late race restart, single file. Billy Decker just sends it into the middle lane of the racetrack, goes right around Eric Rudolph, never looked back, took the win. It was awesome. Super cool to see my favorite driver win a main event on the biggest weekend of the year for big block modified racing. Well, Northeast modified racing, I should say, because it's a small block race. So Billy Decker takes home the win in the Salute to the Troops 150. Eric Rudolph finished in 2nd. Larry White was 3rd. Tim Fuller 4th. And Matt Williamson rounded out the top 5 with Anthony Perego in 6th. Ryan Susi in 7th. Billy Dunn 8th. Justin Harris 9th. And Steve Bernier coming all the way from the Last Chance Showdown win to finish in the top 10. They took 40 cars for that event, and we had 21 cars finish on the lead lap. As I said, fantastic race, best race of the weekend. Super, super awesome. You missed out if you were not there. Last chance showdown events for the other classes. 10 lap last chance showdown for the Dirt Car Pro Stock Series. 3 cars transferred out of this one. It was Pete Stefanski to take the win. Nick Stone was second after rebounding from a crash during Friday Night Lights during the heat race. He had to jump into another competitor's car because his one was destroyed. Jason Meltz in third transferred. He was also forced to do repair work to his car as well, and was able to transfer in. I don't really know where he finished, but I see at the bottom here, Pascal Payer was disqualified for that one. So, yeah, that's obviously not good. But he still made the feature. That's right. He qualified for the feature for a provisional. So I guess that kind of answers my question earlier about the whole Shane Pecor ordeal, too. So they only ran one last chance showdown. Super Dirt Car Series last chance showdowns. They had 2 25-lap showdowns. In the first one, it was Rob Bellinger picking up the win to lock in. Peter Britton was second. He got into the show. Danny Varon was third. Alan Johnson fourth. Now they originally took 4 for the last chance showdowns, but they ended up putting in 5 because Dave Constantino was the 5th place finisher, and he also got to race. Top 5 finishers from the last chance showdown number 2 was Michael Maresca out in front. Gary Lindbergh was second. Ryan Watt third. Paul Saint-Sauveur fourth. And Billy Van Ingwingen rounding out the top 5 of the last chance showdowns for the big block modified Super Dirt Car Series. Final ones on the night. The Dirt Car Sportsman Series, they had their last chance qualifiers. They only took 2. But actually, they took 3. That's right. They qualified 3 from each of the 2 last chance showdowns. Kane Bristol took home the win in the first one. Jessica Power was second, and Bob Henry Jr. finished in third. Those 3 drivers transferred on into their feature event. Brad Rouse, the winner in last chance showdown number 2. James Michael Friesen was second, and Will Shields third, transferring in those 12-lap... Oh, there's a third one, too. That's right. In those 12-lap last chance showdowns. Scott Kerwin in number 3 picked up the win. Cedric Overo was second, and David Manchester qualified in the 3rd place. So they took 9 more cars out of those 3 last chance showdowns, put them all together, 36-car field, kicked off the racing action on Sunday for Super Dirt Week 48. That was yesterday. Dirt Car Sportsman Chevy Performance 75. Probably the best race of the day of the 3 races. Very intense racing up front between Kyle Inman, Kevin Root, and Matt Janzik. The 3 of them all led at one point or another. Were trading back and forth. They had a nice gap over the rest of the field. And made a pretty good show of it. They had some lap traffic to deal with. Lots of yellows throughout the race. Gave some restart opportunities to switch it all up. But in the end, the big winner of the Dirt Car Sportsman Series Chevy Performance 75 was Kyle Inman. The 20K going to victory lane, picking up the big Super Dirt Week win. Post there, Kevin Root finished in second. Matt Janzik was third. Moise Paget finished in fourth. And Robert Delormier rounded out your top 5. Very, very honorable mention to Kane Bristol. Drove all the way through the field to finish in 6th place in that main event. Came from the last chance showdown. Grabs a top 10 position in 6th. Connor Cleveland was 7th. Chris Mackey in 8th. James Michael Friesen 9th. And Adam McAuliffe rounded out your top 10 for the Chevy Performance 75 yesterday at the Oswego Speedway. Second main event on the day was for the Dirt Car Pro Stock Series, the Wilkins RV50. This race was a wreck fest. It took them 51 minutes to run this 50-lap race. Lots and lots of crashes. They had 3 separate multi-car crashes. 2 of them coming off of restarts in turns 1 and 2. Then there was another one in turn 3. Took a while to get it all done. But when it was all said and done, Josh Coonrad picked up the victory. Sid Harmer Jr. was second. Tony Marcoux, pole sitter, finished in third. Tony Marcoux had a very eventful 50-lap race. He started on the pole, made a mistake all by himself, self-spun, was sent back to the field. With all the wrecks and all the cautions and everything that happened, it was very, very obvious that he had a strong car because he came all the way back up and finished in third place despite the spin. So, technically not the hard charger because he still finished 2 spots back, but I think that's an honorable mention for hard charger. He put on a great show. It was very fun to watch him work his way through the field. Jason Casey was 4th, and Scott Towsley, that sounds right. Scott Towsley picked up the 5th place position. Rob Yetman was 6th. Jay Corbin was 7th. Steve LaRochelle was 8th. Burton Ward in 9th. And heat race winner Chris Crane rounded out your top 10. 30 cars took the green flag for that one. 2 lap leaders. That was Tony Marcoux, laps 1 through 9. And then Josh Coonrad took over laps 10 through 50. Since I just saw that, let's go back and mention the lap leaders. Just kidding, it's not showing up at the bottom like it did for the Pro Stock race. So that's lame. But, oh well. So that leaves us down to one last race. The final race of the week. The Billy Whitaker Cars 200. The finale for Super Dirt Week. The race that everybody waits for. Everybody's wanting to see. And honestly, it was a massive disappointment. I'm not going to sugarcoat this, guys. This is my favorite week of racing in New York State. I look forward to this day pretty much. I would safely say I look forward to this race more than any other race that goes on in New York State, and I was highly let down. For this being a day race, there is a certain type of track preparation that you have to have for a day race, and that certain type of track preparation was absolutely missed. There was nowhere near enough water that was put down on the racetrack. It became a single lane, boring, rubbered up crap hole of a race. Sounds like they avoided putting a bunch of water because they don't want it to dust up and become a dust bowl and have issues seeing during the day, which I understand in a way, but the race, it was very disappointing. As I said, it rubbered up. It became a single file train. Lots of guys had tire issues, and with it being a single file race, you had a lot of issues with contact. Lots of crashes, lots of aggressive driving, and it led to some problems. It was not good. Very, very disappointed in the show that we got. The first half of the race was pretty boring. Not really a lot happening other than cautions, some pit strategy. That was really the only time that you could pass, was if you were if you were a car on fresh rubber behind cars that hadn't pit yet, you were able to make the topside work and make passes. Other than that, the race, it was very, very, very hard to pass on the topside. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a letdown. It was a massive letdown. The second half of the race had a lot, and I mean a lot, of drama. First and foremost, there was a massive crash at the... I don't really know what point of the race. I think it was with around 80 laps to go. Big crash in turn 3, piled up a bunch of cars. Alan Johnson ended up getting upside down. And that during the crash, Rob Bellinger's car slid off into the outside wall, and with the track being as slick as it is, it's very hard to slow down to lose speed before you're making the contact. Slid into the wall, hit the wall with the back end. as the rear end came out, it hit the left side door of Alan Johnson's car, which just propelled it upside down. He did a simple little flip, kind of toppled it over. It was kind of like a 3/4 roll. It was kind of like leaning on the left side driver's door. Everybody was all right. Very big crash. Took out a lot of guys. But that was dramatic moment number 1 out of that whole ordeal. Shortly after that, Super Dirt Car Series points leader Matt Shepard ran into issues. Off of a restart, he tried to make a pass going underneath of Michael Maresca heading into turn 1. Original thoughts was that Shepard kind of just slid up the track and got into him. But that really wasn't the case. After looking at the replay, Maresca kind of turned down into him, hit him in the right rear, and it did some serious damage to that 9S because as they drove by us. I didn't really see the contact. I didn't really know about it. But I saw that Shepard's right rear corner panel was chewed up underneath of the car. So I watched him go down the backstretch and into turn 3, and you just see the right rear tire just flop. Right rear tire flops. He pushes up the racetrack, slows to a stop, broke the rear end. He was done for the day. Ended up finishing in 31st. This was a huge moment in that race because he was the points leader, and you'll find out why here in just a little while. The next massive dramatic moment, which I do have an immediate video replay on that one, was an incident between competitors Mike Mahaney and Ryan Watts.
Two cars into the wall, Mike Mahaney.
As you can tell, I'm trying to pull it up to show you guys. Mike Mahaney and Ryan Watt got into it going into turns 1 with 67 laps to go. The two of them crashed, ended up at the top of turn 1. After listening to post-race interviews, it sounds pretty clear that it was Ryan Watt's fault. He kind of said that he just wasn't anticipating to close in on Mahaney as fast as he did, try to hit the brakes and just couldn't do it. So he unfortunately got into the back of Mike Mahaney. They both spun out, hit the wall, ended both of their days. What also ended Mike Mahaney's day was this.
Position down the back straightaway. Oh, two cars into the wall, Mike Mahaney and Ryan Watt. He slammed the outside wall in turn number 1, Dan. Yellow lights are back on. So the yellow lights on around the speedway. A 2-car incident down here in turn number 1. Mike Mahaney and Ryan Watt coming together. Looks like Mahaney climbing down out of the 35 machine. Helping rearrange a little bit of the tin work on Ryan Watt's car.
It got pretty hot and heavy here for Mahaney as he went after Watt. Safety crew keeping him away, but like you said, Dan, a lot of sheet metal work being done by the driver of the 35 and didn't have to use any tools.
Yeah, lots of anger and frustration out of Mike Mahaney after that incident. That is something very uncharacteristic to see out of Mike. I'm pretty confident I've never seen Mike lose his cool like that. His girlfriend Mandy Pouch usually shoots vlogs of all the races that she goes to and does with her family and her boyfriend Mike Mahaney, and was not. Has not posted that yet, so I'm very curious to see what will come of that. But yeah, lots of drama, lots of anger out of Mike Mahaney after that incident. He was escorted out of the facility and had to watch the rest of the race from the grandstands. They did not want him to get anywhere near Ryan Watt and cause any more issues. So they escorted him out. He watched the rest of the race from the stands. After that, it was just a battle of strategy and who really had the best car. Matt Williamson had the lead fairly late. The lap leaders are down here for this one, too. I didn't give you lap leaders for the 358 race either. Didn't pay attention to that. But Williamson took the lead on lap 120 and had a very, very solid performance from that point on. as the race wound down. There was a late race challenge coming in the form of Anthony Perego. Was not at all expecting him to have... I wasn't expecting anybody to have anything for Matt Williamson, but Perego showed some strength, and within the last 10 laps, he reeled Matt Williamson in, had him on the back bumper, and the caution flag came out. Caution flag came out, I believe, with 6 laps to go. I'm sorry. Caution came out with 6 laps to go. Took care of the lap traffic. Matt Williamson was so good on the restarts. And after the performance that I saw out of Anthony Perego trying to reel him in, I figured for sure Perego was going to win the race. Even though that lap traffic was gone, it was a restart. They had time for the cars to cool down. I figured for sure that Anthony Perego was going to win the race. But he didn't. Matt Williamson had a phenomenal restart, pulled away. Perego was kind of messing up his line from what he was running the previous laps. And the Billy Whitaker Cars 200, capping off a phenomenal week and just adding to the success that he has had this season, Matt Williamson scored the win. His first ever Super Dirt Week main event victory. Tim Fuller finished in second. Brett Hearn was third. Ryan Godon fourth. And Jimmy Phelps rounded out the top 5. Hard Charger Stuart Friesen started in 31st place. He came home to finish in 6th. Chris Heil was 7th. Billy Decker in 8th. Jimmy Horton 9th. And Mark Johnson rounded out your top 10. Now, if you paid attention there, you would notice that I did not mention Anthony Perego's name. That is because he ran out of gas. I think he was starting to sputter and slow down with 2 laps to go. Definitely ran out of gas on the backstretch on the final lap. He ended up drifting all the way back to finish in 13th. Of the 41 cars that finished, there were 20 of them that finished on the lead lap. Your lap leaders, Billy Decker led laps 1 through 6, Anthony Perego 7 through 48, Matt Williamson 49 through 58, Anthony Perego again from 59 to 101, Tim Sears Jr. led laps 102 to 119, and then Matt Williamson took the lead on lap 120 and led the final 80 laps. Just because I missed it, I want to go back and see if there were lap leaders for the 358 race. There are not. All right, so they were inconsistently posted on the bottom of those results pages. So that capped off Super Dirt Week. As I said, I was pretty disappointed in how that race finished up. Was just not the show that I was hoping it would be. And it was just lack of track prep for the type of surface that we needed. The small block race was phenomenal. It showed what that track can do. Me personally, I'm not somebody that thinks that dirt racing has to be done during the day or has to be done during night, at night. Oh my gosh. I'm a firm believer that you can have successful dirt racing during the day if you prep the track right. They just didn't prep the track right, which was a massive disappointment. But it is what it is. We'll move on to the next race. I sound like a driver right now. What the hell was that? The Super Dirt Car Series has 2 more events going on this season. They will be competing this upcoming weekend at the Brockville, Ontario Speedway in Brockville, Ontario, Canada, for the Low Down and Dirty Fall Nationals, I think is the full name of the event. And then the World Finals. They'll have 2 main events at the World Finals to finish up the season. The big drama from Matt Williamson winning and with Matt Shepard having his issues. At least last I knew, they were not posted up on the website yet, but I was able to get a look at the Super Dirt Car Series points. Matt Williamson has taken over the points lead. He will have a 10-point lead over Matt Shepard going into Brockville this weekend. That's a huge swing. That's a 100-point swing because Matt Williamson entered that race 90 points behind Matt Shepard. So a 30-position difference gives Matt Williamson the points lead. Those are the only 2 guys that are going to have a shot at the championship. So if you can find betting odds anywhere out there that the name Matt is going to win the championship this year for the Super Dirt Car Series, place your money on it because it's going to happen. Billy Decker's third in points, 134 points back. I don't know if there's any difference in how the name is spelled, but Matt Williamson spells his name with 1 T, Matt Shepard with 2. So if you do place those odds, just make sure that you're kind of aware of that so you don't get screwed over depending on which one you go with. So So yeah, that's really everything that went down with Super Dirt Week 48 at the Oswego Speedway and all the satellite events. Yes, I am disappointed with how the racing was for the main show, but overall it was a good week. I had a lot of fun. I always enjoy Super Dirt Week, just to be able to hit 6 races in a row like that. Well, it was supposed to be 7, but Mother Nature took care of Fulton Speedway for us. It's an awesome event, and something that I would like to show you guys here. Oops, that's the wrong button. This was an aerial shot. I don't know when this aerial shot was taken, but just an aerial shot of the grounds of Super Dirt Week. All of this that you see here, if you can follow my cursor around, I guess the cursor isn't showing up in OBS. I'm sorry for that. But there's a lot of camping, or all behind the grandstands. So you go behind the grandstands, you see where the car track is, and just follow all the big lines of white. Those are all race car haulers. Lots and lots of race car haulers, lots of campers, lots of fans. It's a huge event. Grandstands were packed. It was great. Overall it was a great event. I definitely will not be giving the big block race my race of the year, but overall, I had a lot of fun. I'm glad I did it. I will always be glad that I did it. 7th year in a row going to Super Dirt Week, and I'm looking forward to number 8. We've got a lot of awesome things to come throughout the year before that, and of course next year, but that's a wrap on Super Dirt Week. It was fun. It really was fun. I'm glad that I was able to go. I'm kind of just repeating myself now, but glad I was able to go. Glad that we made it happen, and I'm looking forward to everything that is to come in these upcoming weeks. There was some more racing that went on during for the Dirt Modified World this weekend, and that was the Short Track Super Series. We had mentioned that this past week during the first show. The Short Track Super Series competed at the Afton Motorsports Park for a 2-day event. The Short Track Super Series North Region competed in a points-paying event on Saturday night. There was a 2-day show. I believe it was just a sportsman event on Friday. But the Saturday portion of the show is the one that we will focus on, at least for the moment. Yeah, we'll probably pull them both off here. So I guess we'll start with Saturday since I pulled the results up. We talked about it last week, seeing that Matt Shepard was in the news for the big championship fight that he is in, trying to win both the Short Track Super Series North and South regions. Helped his case out by going to Afton Motorsports Park and picking up the victory in the event on Saturday night after leaving Oswego Speedway. Scored the win. Bobby Varon finished in second. Dwayne Howard, who also made the trip, was third. Andy Bicchetti fourth, and Mike Guler gave up his opportunity to qualify for Super Dirt Week, came home in fifth. Danny Buck was sixth. Ryan Jordan seventh. Jimmy Wells eighth. Brett Tonkin ninth, and Alex Yankowski picked up a top 10 finish in that event. That will help his points lead going into the season finale next Thursday night at the Orange County Fair Speedway in Middletown, New York. They also had a modified match race. There were American Racer Cup modified match races. That was won by Jimmy Wells. He defeated Matt Shepard, Bobby Varon, Dwayne Howard, Billy Pouch Jr., Alan Barker, Brian Malcolm, Brandon Walters, Nick Nye, and Billy Van Pelt were the competitors in that one. The Short Track Super Series Crate Sportsman North Region event, that was a 25-lap feature. That was won by Tim Hartman Jr., Nick Nye was second, Kenny Hammond third, Dale Welty fourth, and Bobby Flood finished in fifth. Joe Brown sixth, Gary Smith seventh, Jim Rothwell eighth, Alan Hodge ninth, and Hunter Lapp rounded out your top 10 in that one. Just a bunch of DNQs. And then... Oh, there were two other features there, too. They had the Mohawk Valley Vintage feature. John Colizio? We'll go with that. John Colizio scored the win. Bob Johnson was second, Rob Sanford third, Mike Hotailing fourth, and Frank Hoare Jr. was fifth. Steve Longo sixth, Dan Wood seventh, Daryl Hulber eighth, Dwayne Hiller ninth, and Mark Byerly rounded out the top 10 for that feature. Also competing was the Mohawk Valley Classic feature. They ran for 12 laps. Brian Moore scored the win. Roger Williams was second, Jeff Mitchell third, George Palmer fourth, and Tex Gordon was fifth, Mike Cole sixth, Michelle Colizio seventh, Alan McDonald eighth, Philip Mitchell ninth, Mark Reardon 10th, Larry Hoy 11th, and Doug Atkins running out the 12-car field for that. As I mentioned, that was a 2-day show. That was the Saturday portion. Just going to see if we can pull up the Friday results here on this page while we're at it. Lots of Facebook updates. Short Track Super Series does a phenomenal job at keeping their stuff updated. So probably a good idea to go give them some love on Facebook if you're interested in following that series. Lots of Facebook posts here. We're still scrolling through to get to Friday. All right, here we go. Let's see. We're getting down there here. All right, Friday portion. Here we go. We've got their feature results. Looks like this was just a regular sportsman race for the Friday event. That one was also won by Tim Hartman Jr. Steve Davis was second, Matt Mead third, Michael Shane fourth, and Nick Nye was fifth. Kenny Hammond sixth, Alan Hodge seventh, Dennis Clapperton eighth, Jim Rothwell ninth, and Brandon Edgar rounding out your top 10. CRSA Sprint Cars had a 25-lap event. Alicia Bay got the win over Mike Kaiser in second, Jeff Sen in third, Brett Jaycox fourth, Dana Wagner fifth. Alicia's father, Daryl Ruggles, was sixth, Mike Van Pelt seventh, Josh Flynn eighth, John Scarborough ninth, and Emily Van Ingwingen rounding out the top 10. In that one, American Racer Cup Sportsman Match races went to Steve Davis, defeating Daniel Morgowicz, Brandon Edgar, Michael Shane, Dennis Clapperton, Kenny Hammond, Tim Hartman Jr., and Blaine Klinger. The only other feature on that Friday night portion of the Short Track Super Series event, they call it the wow. How do I not the Workman's something? Short Track Super Nationals. I think it's like the Workman's Classic or something like that. Gosh, now I need to figure out the name of it. But anyway, Short Track Super Nationals. Got to scroll back so I can give you the slingshot results. That was won by Scott Neary. Jared Silphy was second. Brett Putnam third. Rodney Renwick fourth. And Dan Slosik was fifth. Calvin Wheelock sixth. Julia Renwick seventh. Nick Ospelmeyer, we'll go with, was eighth. Alex Boughton ninth. And Matthew Backus was your top 10 finishers. The working man's race. That's what it was. That's what it was. Thank you for that in chat. Something along those lines. I knew I was close. So yeah, that wraps up our dirt modified discussions for the week. Lots of information there. A lot of other things to jump into. We're going to try to jump into these pretty quickly, getting into a pretty lengthy show here. But there are still a lot of things that I would like to mention, so why don't we do that? Some news coming out of the Urbandale... Oh, yes! As I was talking about, that vlog is now live from Andy Pouch. We will have to watch that. I can give you guys a link to it if you're interested in watching it. I'm just going to load it up and save it in my background here. I got a lot going on my computer, so we're... Alright, holy cow, that's a 25-minute vlog. It'll be worth it, though. It's for Super Dirt Week Sunday. You know what, why don't I just... Oh my gosh, this is a huge, ugly link. But I'm going to post it down there anyway. If you want to check all that out, it's in chat. You're welcome. So, information coming out on the Urbandale Speedway this weekend, that they will be hosting a pretty awesome event coming up in 2020. That being a $25,000 Super Late Model All-Star Showdown will return in 2020. That will be held on February 1st. Let's see here. read through a quick little paragraph here. The $25,000 to win Super Late Model main event will see the nation's top Super Late Model competitors square off for 200 laps around Urbandale Speedway's progressively banked half mile. The race will be sanctioned and officiated by the Spears Southwest Tour Series and will operate under the same rulebook as the SRL Winter Showdown. We want, quote, we want to bring the best Super Late Model drivers from around the nation to Irwindale Speedway for this huge event, unquote, stated Irwindale Speedway's Tim Huddleston. Quote, Irwindale was the longtime host of the NASCAR Toyota All-Star Showdown, and Bob Brancati of Sunrise Forward wanted to bring that type of event back to Irwindale Speedway, unquote. The 200-lap main event will also serve as a season opener for the West Coast's premier Super Late Model Series, the Spears Southwest Tour Series. Quote, in 2020, we're celebrating our 20th race season, and this is a great way to start the party with a $25,000 to win championship points event for the Spears Southwest Tour Series, unquote, stated the SRL's Larry Collins. Quote, with the introduction of the Sunrise Forward All-Star Showdown on February 1st in sunny Southern California, the 6th annual Winter Showdown will now move to later date at its home, Kern County Raceway. We have so much planned for our 20th year, and this is a great way to start it off, unquote. They will also be doing an open late model event for $10,000 to win 100 laps on the 3rd mile racetrack. That's on the inside of Irwindale Speedway. So some pretty cool news about that. Irwindale Speedway, it's always so awesome to see news about Irwindale Speedway pop up and that they're still having success with that event or with that racetrack. That place has seen a lot of issues in the past threatening to close down, but it has still survived, it has still thrived, and we are still racing at the Irwindale Speedway. So to hear that a major event is still, or is coming to that event, that racetrack, and we're still having success booking racing events at that place is extremely awesome, and that's definitely a track that's on my bucket list one day because I loved it on iRacing, so I want to go there in person. While we're on the topic of super late models, a pretty big weekend in the super late model world, as the Winchester 400 took place this past weekend. I wasn't really able to find any results on that to talk about majorly in depth, so if anybody has any results on that, can beat them to me, please feel free to post that in the live chat and I'll pull that up. But really all you need to know is that Stephen Nasty kicked everybody's ass. He led over 390 of the 400 laps to pick up the Winchester 400 win. Winchester 400 is one of the premier events in super late model racing. I know it's a crown jewel. So obviously to win it is a big deal, but to win it by that much is insane. Leading that many laps, just wild. Absolutely wild. So congratulations to Stephen Nassie on picking up that event win this past weekend in the Winchester 400. Some news. Bam, look at that. You guys are awesome. Pulling some stuff up for me. All right. This is why I turned to you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much. So we do have a finishing order here for the Winchester 400. Stephen Nassie picked up the win. Corey Heim was second. Cody Coughlin was third. Travis Braden fourth. And Brandon Watson running out the top five, with Chandler Smith in sixth. Greg Van Alst in seventh. Josh Brock in eighth. Donnie Wilson ninth. And Steven Wallace, he's listed here as Steve Wallace, finished in 10th. I'm also glad that you guys posted that up because that means that I am reminded to mention that Greg Van Alst was the champion of that series. There was mentions of it. Because all it says here. Oh, okay. It decided the Arca CRA Super Series Championship. 4 drivers entered with a shot at the title. They have a playoff format too? Oh, gosh. Greg Van Alst beat Josh Brock. And he scored the championship. So congratulations to Greg Van Alst on also winning the championship in that event. Some news in the IndyCar world, sticking with the pavement, but we're going to open wheel, the open wheel racing world. Chip Ganassi Racing is going to have a new driver in 2020. for their IndyCar Series program. And that driver will be Swedish driver Marcus Ericsson. He will pilot the number 8 Honda in the NTT IndyCar Series in 2020 for Chip Ganassi Racing. Chip Ganassi spoke about this, saying, quote, "I think Marcus brings a lot of unique experience with him, having competed in several championships around the world. When you have someone with that type of background, it gives him other points of reference that helps his ability to develop and add to the overall racing program. We're looking forward to seeing what Marcus can do alongside Scott and Felix," unquote. Of course, Ericsson had some comments of his own. He said, quote, "First of all, I'm extremely happy and proud to get the opportunity to join Chip Ganassi Racing. It's a team of winners, and their history speaks for itself. I'm very thankful that they believe in me, and I will do everything I can to make 2020 another successful year for the team. I'm also very excited to work with 2 of the best drivers in the series, in Scott and Felix. I'm looking forward to putting what I've learned this year to use in my second year in the NTT IndyCar Series," unquote. So some silly season news coming out in the NTT data. Is that right? I want to make sure I say it right. NTT IndyCar Series. Okay, they've changed names since I last remember that information, so I want to make sure that I get that correctly. So congratulations to Marcus, going to a very successful organization. We all know how good Chip Ganassi Racing is in the IndyCar Series. We will transition now back into the dirt world, as we've got some more news regarding some dirt late models. A pretty cool bit of news for those of us that are looking for some dirt late model racing over the winter. The Xtreme Dirt Car Series will return as Winter Late Model Tour. This is coming from the XtremeDirtCar.com website. The article says Dirt Car Racing announced today. That article was posted on Thursday. The revival of one of the most storied brands in dirt late model racing with the launch of the Xtreme Dirt Car Series for super late models. The series is set to feature 6 to 8 races in the Southeast starting in late November and wrapping up with its championship finale in February. The Xtreme Dirt Car Series is designed to give racers and race fans a chance to get their fix through the winter months with a handful of high-quality special events at some of the South's finest facilities. The schedule will feature $5,000 to win, $500 to start, 40-lap events with a series opener and finale to include increased purses. Racers will also be competing for their share of a $45,000 point fund with a $20,000 to the champion, with $20,000 to the champion, $10,000 to second place, $5,000 to third place, and $1,000 to each driver who enters every event. The series points chase will, however, provide racers with some flexibility. Entering every event will not be required for point fund eligibility, and drivers will only count a certain number of their highest point nights towards the championship. 5 races have already been confirmed for the 2019-2020 season, with the inaugural Xtreme Dirt Car Series winter event being the 29th annual Blue Gray 100 at Cherokee Speedway in Gaffney, South Carolina on Sunday, November 24th. The event will feature a traditional format, paying $10,000 to win, and it will be co-sanctioned with the Carolina Clash as they will crown their 2019 champion at the event. Scrolling through the article again. The series will move on to Livonia Speedway for a Sunday afternoon 40-lap $5,000 win affair on December 15th, followed by a 40-lap $5,000 win event at Cherokee Speedway on Saturday, January 18th, 2020, and another 40-lap $5,000 win event at Cochran Motor Speedway in Cochran, Georgia on Saturday, January 25th. The series finale is set for Saturday, February 29th at Modoc Raceway in Modoc, South Carolina. The format, purse, and laps for the series finale will be announced in the near future. Let's see here. Very important information here as well. While dirt late model enthusiasts across the Southeast will have the chance to visit their favorite tracks in person, snowbound race fans, that would be me, from across the country will be able to do the next best thing, as each event will be broadcast live on Dirt Vision and made available to both late model and sprint car fast pass subscribers. That is awesome. So if you are either a late model or sprint car fast pass subscriber, you will be able to watch every single one of these events. So if you are a avid race fan like myself looking for something to watch in the winter, the Xtreme Dirt Car Series is that answer for you. Continuing on in the world of dirt late model racing, as we mentioned last week, there were a couple of Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series races this past weekend. Unfortunately, one of those races was rained out. That was the second one that was supposed to happen yesterday at the Rome Speedway. But the first one, the Dixie Shootout, that one still was contested on Saturday night at the Dixie Speedway. The winner of that one was Georgia's Michael Page, defended home turf for the second time in the last 3 years as he won the Lucas Oil Dixie Shootout on Saturday night at the Dixie Speedway. With the victory in one of the Southeast's most prestigious dirt late model events, Page became the 19th different winner this season on the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series Tour. So congratulations to Michael Page on that victory, earning himself $12,000. Jimmy Owens was second, Brandon Overton third, Chris Madden fourth, and Jonathan Davenport rounding out the top five. Dale McDowell was sixth, Devin Moran seventh, Don O'Neill eighth, Mike Marler ninth, and Tim McCready rounding out the top 10. Points looking into the season finale this upcoming weekend as they head to Ohio. Jonathan Davenport, he's your champion. 8,045 points to Tim McCready's 7,575. There's no way that Tim McCready is going to catch him. So congratulations to Jonathan Davenport on sealing up that championship. Just to give you guys the proper information for this weekend's event. The 39th Annual Dirt Track World Championship at the Portsmouth? Portsmouth? I know I have somebody in chat that can correct the pronunciation of that. So I will go with... But I don't even know what to go with. I'll wait for the... okay, it is Portsmouth. All right. It's just Portsmouth. Okay, I'll go Portsmouth. All right, sounds good to me. Portsmouth Raceway Park in Portsmouth, Ohio. $100,000 championship, 2-day event to wrap up the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series Championship and their season for 2019. The World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series competed this past weekend at the Tri-State Speedway in Hobstadt, Indiana. I believe they had one race rain out this past weekend. I think they were supposed to race twice. They were still able to run one race. I just want to check back and confirm on that. Actually, I'm not going to be able to do... if I view the full schedule, I probably will. Oh, no. That's... Oh, wait. Confirmed special... Okay, no. Well... Most locals do have more than I than know. So it's Portsmouth, what... Y'all know what I'm trying to say here. But either way, I do believe that they were supposed to run 2 races this weekend for the World of Outlaws. They were only able to get one in at the Tri-State Speedway in Hobstadt, Indiana. And a very familiar name went to victory lane in that one. That would be NASCAR Xfinity Series driver Christopher Bell. His 5th career win with the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. His first as a car owner as he took his very own 21 to victory lane. The $10,000 win went to Christopher Bell. Sheldon Haudenshield finished in 2nd. Kerry Madsen was 3rd. Ian Madsen 4th. Brad Sweet was 5th. Brady Bacon 6th. Brent Mark 7th. Darren Pittman 8th. Logan Schuhart 9th, and Carson Macedo was in 10th. Your KSE Hard Charger Award went to Sheldon Haudenshield, picking up 16 positions, going from 18th to finish in 2nd place. So congratulations to Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell will be headed to the Kansas Speedway this weekend, as I believe, let me double check. I actually think I'm wrong on that. I was, okay. Kansas will be the start of the round of 8 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series, the Kansas Lottery 300, coming up this Saturday afternoon in Kansas. Let's see. What else do we got here? We've got some coverage of the Bathurst 1000. We completely missed this one on last week's show for a preview. But the Bathurst 1000 went on this past weekend, and we've got some drama with the Bathurst 1000 as well. So the race was won by Scott McLaughlin and Alex Premat? I don't know. I don't know how to say that. Either way, those 2 drivers were able to pick up the win in the Bathurst 1000. But there was some drama, and I know that this race is being reviewed. I don't know if they've come up with anything yet. I don't think they have. With that event. So I have an article here from foxsports.com.au. We'll read some of this to kind of let you know on what happened with some of the Premats. All right, Alex Premat. We'll go with that. So, from this article, the safety car completed nearly the same number of laps as some of the drivers in the dramatic race, and following the incident of American wildcard Alexander Rossi on lap 134, another intervention caused the most controversy. While McLaughlin stuck in an epic battle with Jamie Whincup, his Shell V-Power Racing teammate, Fabian Coulthard, took one for the team by holding up the rest of the field while the number 17 gained an advantage on his rivals. One of the cars held up was that of Shane van Gisbergen, who eventually finished second in the race, crossing the checkered flag less than a second behind McLaughlin in a tense final lap. Coulthard was punished for his actions with a pit lane drive-through penalty, but the damage had been done, with van Gisbergen and others left well behind McLaughlin in the race to the lane. Quote, I just got told they didn't know where the incident was and to take extreme caution, unquote, Coulthard explained afterwards. Quote, you take extreme caution under a safety car, and I did what I was told, unquote. However, his actions were branded disgraceful by Supercars legend Larry Perkins, who texted on-air reporter Neil Crumpton during the race to express his disappointment with Coulthard and the team's sportsmanship. Coulthard was told over the radio to slow down repeatedly as he was unaware where the incident which flagged the safety car was, while van Gisbergen bemoaned that the number 12 was going stupidly slow. However, team boss Ryan Story insisted there was a problem with overheating of the car, which wasn't voiced over the radio at the time. Whether or not it made a difference at all in the end is a different matter, given there were plenty more safety car deployments still to come, but McLaughlin will be sure to buy his teammate a beer at the celebrations afterwards. Just some comments from a commentator. So you basically get the gist of all of that, so some drama behind the Bathurst 1000. As I said, I'm pretty sure the series or sanctions of some point are reviewing this and discussing this. I don't know of what any penalties will come from this or not. But obviously the Bathurst 1000 is a major event in the racing world. So it was worth mentioning, especially with the drama that all went with it. The final thing that we will discuss tonight, before we send it off to you guys for your segment, is we're going to talk about the Petit Le Mans for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. They competed in their final event at Road Atlanta. I think it has a special... excuse me. I think it has a different... Was it not like Michelin Tire Raceway or something like that? Someone will correct me as you guys do, because you're awesome. But yes, they competed in their final event of the season this year. And in... Let's see here. So, multiple different classes... as IMSA Sports Tech is Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Okay, thank you very much. Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. That's kind of what I thought. DPI class was won by the Whelen Engineering Racing Team of Felipe Nasser, Pippo Durrani, and Eric Curran. The GTLM class was won by Risi Competizione, Daniel Serra, Alessandro Pierre Guidi, and James Calato. I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names. I'm not familiar with these guys in this series too much. GTD was won by Turner Motorsport. Drivers Robbie Foley III, Bill Oberlin, and Dylan McIvern. And the LMP2 division was actually won by a driver that... There was only 2 cars in that division, but... technically still a division, still a finish. That was won by the PR1 Mathiasen Motorsports, which the drivers were Matthew McMurray, Dalton Kellett, and Gabriel Aubrey. So that is what completed the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Series, 465 laps completed by the winning DPI team. They led 165 laps in that event. With that being the final event of the series, champions were crowned. And in the, let's see here. Okay, yes. All right. So I just want to make sure that I'm getting this all right because these guys are teamed up by team names here. So in the DPI class, champions were Dane Cameron and Juan Pablo Montoya. I'm sure a lot of people recognize that name. They won the championship over Pippo Durrani and Felipe Nasser by 5 points. Elio Castroneves and Ricky Taylor were third. Jordan Taylor and Renger van der Zan were fourth. And fifth was Oliver Jarvis and Tristan Nunez. They were 34 points back. Jordan Taylor and Renger van der Zan were 28 points back. In the GTD class, Mario Fonbacher and Trent Hindeman were your champions. They had a 21-point gap over Bill Oberlin and Robbie Foley III. And Zachary Robicon? Robicon kind of sounds better. Oh, no. Oh, what? Oh, that's a tie. Okay, I gotcha. Slight confusion. I'm going to give it to Bill Oberlin and Robbie Foley III because they're listed first here, or they're listed as number 2, and then Zachary Robicon, need name, are listed in third. Andy Lally and John Potter were fourth, 34 points back, and then Cooper McNeil and Tony Vilander were fifth in GTD points, 37 points back. GTLM champions went to Earl Bamber and Lorenz Van Thor. They had a 13-point gap over Patrick Paulette and Nick Tandy. Antonio Garcia and Jan Magnuson tied for second place, but they are being shown as third. Fourth place was Ryan Briscoe and Richard Westbrook, 17 points back and forth. And then the fifth place championship competitor in GTLM was Dirk Mueller, 24 points back. And LMP2 champion went to Matthew McMurray, 11 points ahead of Cameron Castles. Kyle Mason was third, Gabriel Aubrey fourth, and Dalton Kellett fifth place. So those were your top 5 rundowns in the championships for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Cars Championship. I apologize for all the names that I butchered. Not familiar with that series and its drivers too much, but I just wanted to make mention of that since seeing that it was a major event in the racing world this past weekend. Quick update on what I had mentioned coming from chat. The hearing is scheduled in the Bathurst 1000 issue. The hearing is scheduled for the next race at Gold Coast. The results are not official until then, so if I'm able to hear something about that, I'll obviously be sure to update you guys on that. But just sharing that out there since we mentioned that in the initial, or mentioned that in the show as is. So that is everything that I've got that I wanted to mention and bring up on the show tonight. So now it's your guys' turn. Before I get to my week ahead, we'll send you guys to the bring it to the live fan segment portion of the show. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, if you join us live every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, I will have a small segment where I send it off to you, the fans. You guys can ask me whatever questions that you have for me. Tell me what you did this past weekend, what you're doing this upcoming weekend. Absolutely anything and everything that you want to talk about. We'll kind of go back and forth here for a few minutes and pick your brains as to what you have to present to me in the racing world. First thing posted, Wild Child R19, who, by the way, is still in the room. He's still here. I brought him here for his first Super Dirt Week. He flies home tomorrow. He had a very good time. I'm very happy to bring him out here for this. And I highly recommend that anybody out there that has not come for Super Dirt Week, do it. You will not regret it. He is posting results to the NHRA event, which I believe happened earlier today due to rain. So let's see how long it's going to take this article to load, and we'll have a little chit-chat about the NHRA event. It is still loading. This is great. Let's see how long it's. Oh, look at that. Oh. All right, maybe it's just a bad link because this one pops right up. Mod Chaser Mitch brings up some of the racing action that happened at Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park this past weekend. The NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour Championship was decided during this event. And the champion after the 57th Annual Sunoco World Series 150 was Doug Coby. He scored his 6th NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour Championship. Justin Bonsignor appears to be your second place points champion. Well, points finisher, I should say. And that is correct. Doug Coby picks up the championship. Bonsignor finished in second, 8 points behind. Ron Silk, third, 62 points back. Craig Lutz, fourth, 76 points back. And Matt Swanson was fifth, 139 points back. The rest of your top 5, Eric Goodale in 6th, Timmy Solomito in 7th, Patrick Emmerling in 8th, Chris Pasternak in 9th, and Blake Barney rounding out the top 10 in series points. Your race results for the Sunoco World Series 150. The race was won by Justin Bonsignor, but he was not able to win the championship. He led 140 of the 150 laps in the race. Ron Silk was second, Matt Swanson third, Bobby Santos third and fourth, and Woody Pitkat rounded out the top 5 with Eric Goodale, Doug Coby, the champion, in 7th, Chase Dowling, Rob Summers, and Timmy Solomito, the top 10 in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour Sunoco World Series 150 at Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. All right, so we've got this this website that has loaded for the NHRA Carolina Nationals update. And it looks like this is all just videos. These are all tweets that are attached to this. So let's see what we can come up here. No one has beaten Steve Torrence at ZMAX Dragway in 2 years. Doug Coletta entered the event as the top fuel. That's what TF stands for in drag racing. Point leader, Mark Stevo overcame in qualifying. Torrence then stretched the advantage in the final round to beat Coletta. So Steve Torrence, sounds like he won the top fuel event. Robert Height picked up his 500th round win, national event victory number 51 at the perfect time, stopping a red lighting Jack Beckman. The final round foul for Beckman, the first in a decade. So Robert Height picking up the win. That looks to be Funny Car? I believe so. Pro Stock final left little margin for error as Derek Kramer, by 11 thousandths of a second, edged out Matt Hartford to pick up his second win of the season. Very nicely done there. And on the motorcycles, we've got this tweet says, it's rare that Angel Hines comes into a race as the underdog, but was in the final round against Karen Stouffer. The Vance and Hines Harley Davidson did what he had to do with a whole shot win. So Angel Hines getting the win there. And then in Pro Modified, Stevie Fast Jackson has a 2-trophy day, winning the 2019 Pro Modified Series Championship and adding an event title by defeating Stephen Whiteley. That's pretty cool. Very nice for Stevie Jackson. Always good when you can take the championship and a race win at the same time. Holy cow, there's a lot of... All right. Damn, man, there's a lot of tweets here. There's a lot of tweets. That's a lot. Well, those all the... All right, let's see here. Oh, those are probably... Oh, okay, all right. So those were all like... everything else is like leading up to the final. So what I just mentioned... Oh, yeah, semifinal highlights. So those were all of the final highlights. Those were coming from... direct tweets from Competition Plus on Twitter that were attached to this article on competitionplus.com. So a little bit of NHRA drag racing information for you guys to chit-chat about. It's Dirt Track World Championship weekend, baby. That coming from Clinch0043. He will be attending that event this weekend, so Clinch is extremely excited to do that. Did check out that one. Let's see here. Also, breaking news coming out of the Whelen Modified Tour paddock during World Series weekend. Let's see what this is all about. This coming from RacedayConnecticut.com. Flamingo Motorsports Whelen Modified Tour team shutting down Timmy Salamito looking for a ride. That is never good. Coming directly from the article on RacedayConnecticut.com. Flamingo Motorsports, a longtime cornerstone organization of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, is shutting down after tomorrow's Sunoco World Series 150 at Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. The team's driver, Timmy Salamito, publicly revealed the news about the team shutting down late Saturday night. Quote, "I'm just thankful for the opportunity Eric Sanderson and Sly Sabin gave me over the past 5 years. I was able to go," this is from Salamito himself, "I was able to go out and win 9 races and 5 poles with them and battle for championships for a few seasons. There's a lot to be said for that. I'm extremely grateful and hope to land on my feet in another ride for 2020, unquote. Salamito replaced Ryan Preece with the team prior to the 2015 season. Salamito of Islip, New York. I think that's how that is. If not, I'll be corrected. Had 4 victories for the team in 2016 and finished 3rd in the standings. He had 5 victories in 2017 and ended up 2nd in points. He was 4th in the standings in 2018. Salamito sits 7th in the standings going into the season's finale Sunday, and a group of 4 drivers separated by 5 points in the battle for 5th place, which we had already mentioned. So tough news for that team and for Timmy Salamito. With all of that information and those statistics, I would like to think that he has a good shot at landing a ride for 2020. Islip, it's on Long Island. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Islip, New York. Very glad to know that. So that's a shame for Timmy Salamito. Also coming from Race Day Connecticut, Keith Rocco gets 8th Thompson SK Mod title, matches NASCAR national record. In 2005, Keith Rocco arrived on the scene of the Connecticut SK Modified Racing landscape, driving for Gene Guy and Bridget Pollen, with a cocksure swagger about him, and quickly showed fans and competitors he had the talent to back up that confidence. 2 years later, the Wallingford driver celebrated his first SK Modified Championship at Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park for Bannister Motorsports. Fast forward to Sunday, the young gun of SK Modified Racing is now the grizzled and accomplished veteran, also now NASCAR national record holder. Rocco used a 5th place finish in the 30-lap NASCAR Whelen All-American Series SK Modified feature at the Sunoco World Series at Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park to clinch his 8th SK Modified Championship at the track. The championship allowed Rocco to match the NASCAR national record for NASCAR Whelen All-American Series Division I track championships. It was Rocco's 17th NASCAR-sanctioned SK Modified Championship between 3 tracks in Connecticut. Rocco, the 2010 NASCAR Whelen All-American Series national champion, also has 3 SK Modified titles at Stafford Motor Speedway and 6 at the New London Waterford Speed Bowl. Rocco matched Joe Kosiski for the all-time record for Division I titles. Quote, "It's really awesome. Just the people that I've had help me and surround me over the past 15 years or so, it's just unbelievable. To put that many numbers and stats together is just mind-blowing," unquote. Those words coming from Keith Rocco. So congratulations, Keith Rocco, on a massive accomplishment there. More news from Race Day Connecticut, all provided by Mod Chaser Mitch. Ronnie Williams tops Modified Racing Series at Sunoco World Series, and Mike Willis Jr. takes the title. Ronnie Williams knew going into the season that driving for Gary Casella's Roscoe Racing Team came with some big expectations. Casella's organization has long been one of the standard bearers of success when it comes to racing on the Valenti Modified Racing Series, and in 2019, Williams helped to keep those standards riding high for Casella. That successful run continued with a perfect ending of the season for Williams and Casella Saturday. Williams led every lap on the way to victory in the 50-lap Valenti Modified Racing Series feature Saturday at the World Series of Racing at World Series of Speedway Racing at Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. Quote, "We knew we were going to start up front. We knew we had a fast race car, been fast all weekend, just had to keep the wheels under it. This group, they're one of a kind. Gary puts together a great race car, and it's just my job to go out there and complete it, which is going out there and winning," unquote, from Williams himself. Chase Dowling of Roxbury was 2nd, and Craig Lutz of Miller Place, New York, 3rd. Williams had 3 victories for Casella this year. Williams got his first series victory on June 8th at Monadnock Speedway. in Winchester, New Hampshire, and also one for the team on June 23rd at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in London. So congratulations there to Ronnie Williams and Mike Willis Jr. Just going through the article a little bit more to talk about Willis. Mike Willis Jr. of Grand New Hampshire used a 22nd place finish to clinch his first series title. Quote, "It was a great year. We got our first win this year with the series. We had a good shot at it last year. I thought we were going to get it last year, and it didn't come our way. It was really important to get this championship for me. We've always won at our local track, so to go out here and win in our touring series at many different tracks is pretty amazing," unquote. That coming from Willis himself. So lots of news as expected from the Northeast with the modified racing world. We'll check out these last 3 articles here, and we'll get ready to wrap this up. Last one from Race Day, Connecticut. World Series notes, Eddie McDonald tops Granite State Pro Stock Series at Thompson. Eddie McDonald passed Ray Christian III on lap 38 and led the field in his wake on the way to victory in the 50-lap Granite State Pro Stock Series feature at the Sunoco World Series at Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park Saturday. It marked the second consecutive season that McDonald of Raleigh, Massachusetts, has won the Granite State Pro Stock Series feature at the World Series. McDonald has wins in 4 touring divisions at Thompson. He also has wins at the track with the NASCAR Can-Am Pro Series East, the Pro All-Star Series, and the American Canadian Tour. Christian of Uncasville was second, and Corey Casagrande of Stafford third. Jonathan Bouvret won the wrecked, marred 75-lap American Canadian Tour feature. Woody Pickett of Stafford was second, and Mark Jennison of Warwick, Rhode Island, third. Rich Debut of Plainfield, New Hampshire, used a 12th place finish to clinch the 2019 Series Championship. Ben Seitz of Monument Beach, Massachusetts, won the 20-lap Shane Hammond Memorial Northeastern Midget Association feature. Todd Bertrand of Putnam was second, and Avery Storr of Lakeville, Massachusetts was probably third, but it doesn't say that. Let's see here. Livid 888 posts the article about the Xtreme Dirt Car Series returning, which we did mention earlier in the show. Very, as said then, that's awesome. I love hearing about winter racing because I don't like taking off weeks at all. So that is awesome to hear about. Maybe I'll have to do a little research and see what one of those fast passes cost so I can check it out. But from what someone said earlier, they sound expensive. All right. What's this? Oh, wait. One more here. Fly back home and some ice hockey on tap and an enduro race on Sunday, hopefully. I like it. Love the enduro racing. I'm huge into enduro racing. Last thing we'll cover here, Falls Frenzy. Falls Frenzy. Happening at the Fairbury American Legion Speedway. It's either that or it's just Fairbury Speedway. Either way, it's the same place. That event, it was a $15,000 to win event. A lot of guys, a lot of big name late model drivers were able to go there because the World of Outlaws is done racing until the World Finals. That one was picked up by Brandon Shepard. Billy Moyer finished in second with Shane Clanton third, McKay Wenger in fourth, and Shannon Babb rounding out the top 5 in that event. So another $15,000 going to Brandon Shepard, like he needed any more money anyway. But a very successful weekend of racing for Mr. Shepard. Not so successful for another Shepard that we know, at least not on all aspects. So, that is where we are going to get ready to wrap things up. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and for participating in your portion of the show. What we've got coming up this week and this weekend, I did a lot of adjustments and scheduling changes to my race chasing plans for this weekend, but I've set everything in stone. I've got a nice 17 race schedule left for the end of the year. Hopefully things will go well and I can make all of those happen. So my race chasing plans for this upcoming weekend and what you can expect to hear about on the show next Monday night. Friday night, I will be making the trip to the Outlaw Speedway in Dundee, New York for night number 1 of the Dutch Hogue Memorial. That is the Outlaw Speedway's big event to honor Dutch Hogue. To close out their year. So that will hopefully not be a long, drawn-out show like Outlaw sometimes becomes. Saturday, I will be participating in a doubleheader event, which looks like will be my final doubleheader of the year. I will be heading south to Pennsylvania, Lehighton, Pennsylvania, for the Small Car Nationals at Mahaney Valley Speedway. And since it's so close, I will double that up Saturday night with the 22nd Annual Modified Traffic Jam at Grandview Speedway in Bechtelsville, Pennsylvania for the Thunder on the Hill Racing Series. Staying there over the night, and I'll head back to Grandview Speedway on Sunday night for the Outlaw Enduro Series Sunday afternoon. Then we'll come back home, we'll put it all together, and we'll have a show for you. Double division racing this weekend for NASCAR. They will be running at the Kansas Speedway for the NASCAR Xfinity Series and the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. It will be the start of the round of 8 for the Xfinity Series, the end of the round of 12 for the Cup Series. So 4 more drivers will be eliminated. As previously mentioned, those drivers: Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, William Byron, and Clint Boyer. We mentioned the season finale coming up for the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. Let's do a check. I believe that the World of Outlaws are racing this weekend. I just want to be sure on that. I know the World of Outlaws late models are not racing again until the World Finals. They are. There will be 2 races this upcoming weekend for the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series. The first one coming up on Friday, October 18th, the FVP Platinum Battery Showdown at Lakeside Speedway in Kansas City, Kansas. So if you're going to be out in the area for NASCAR that weekend, might not be a bad idea to do that Friday night. If there's not anything else going on. Actually, isn't there an Arca race Friday night at Kansas? Isn't that usually where they're in their season? So that might be going on. And then you have the Jason Johnson Classic presented by FK Rod Ends at Lake Ozark Speedway in Eldon, Missouri on Saturday, October 19th. So another doubleheader weekend for the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series. So that's pretty cool. The following weekend, I'm actually thinking about attending the first night of the Nittany Showdown at Port Royal Speedway. I'm not going to be there Saturday, but I'm thinking I'm probably going to make that happen for Friday. And then the World Finals will be the end of their season. Hard to believe that we're already at that point where we're getting ready to crown championships in just about everything major in the world of racing. But that's some of what you can expect to happen this upcoming weekend in the racing world. As always, guys, thank you very much for tuning in to the second episode of the Chasing the Racing podcast. A little bit longer than last week's show, but we had a lot to cover, and I'm glad that we were able to get it all in. If you are not already participating on our social media pages, make sure to do so. I will post those links down below for those of you in the live chat. For those that are watching on YouTube, they will be in the description of this video. Facebook page, make sure to put yourself in the Facebook group. We will be talking all about racing related topics in there. Any news that pops up, anything that you guys want to talk about or share, whether it's about racing or the podcast. I am all open for constructive criticism, so please do not be afraid to bring anything to my attention that you would like to see change, what you like, what you don't like. If you do it in a respectful way, I'll respect you back. So don't be afraid to do that. YouTube channel, if you're not already on there, make sure to subscribe. It's my personal YouTube channel. That's where I will be posting all of these shows for those who are not able to watch live. So if you miss any part of the show, or if you want to rewatch it, or if you're not able to tune in during a live show, make sure to tune in there. You can check it out. I think I've kind of figured out a good system, hopefully, to upload them on a regular basis on Tuesdays. So that way, if you miss a show on Monday night, it'll immediately go up on Tuesday, and we'll be good to go from there. Either way, make sure you put yourself in the Facebook group, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you get your butt to a racetrack, no matter where it is or when it is. If you've got something going on in the area, make sure to go out. Pavement, dirt, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just go out, support your local racetrack. It's extremely important. It's more important than you may think. Do it. You'll enjoy it. It'll be fun. I promise you. And we will see you guys back here next Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, for the third episode of the Chasing the Racing podcast. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I appreciate your viewership. We will see you all next week. Have a fantastic Monday. Have a fantastic week. And if anything happens, you know where to find it. We'll be right here on the Chasing the Racing podcast. Good night, guys.